Retirement is supposed to be a reward after decades of work. The time to finally relax, travel, enjoy life without constant money worries. But far too many families, retirement doesn't feel secure anymore. It feels uncertain, fragile, sometimes overwhelming when hidden risks start to show up. Today, I'm going to pull back the curtain on 4 painful realities that can quietly derail your retirement plans if you choose to ignore them. We'll look at how they actually play out through the story of Mark and Dana, a couple whose journey mirrors what I've seen repeatedly throughout my years of being a financial advisor. Along the way, you'll learn the dangers of outliving your money, healthcare shocks, market downturns, and the quiet squeeze of inflation and taxes. More importantly, you'll see what steps can help you face these realities directly, so your retirement plan can bend without breaking under pressure. Stick with me, because this breakdown may shift how you think about your financial future and help you avoid mistakes that are tough to undo. Retirement should feel like freedom, but for many families today it feels like a balancing act, and the ground underneath them isn't quite as steady as it once was. People are living longer, healthcare costs are climbing, and market swings harder than we'd like, and taxes quietly take more than we expected. These are not abstract numbers, they are realities. Painful realities, and ignoring them is dangerous for anyone planning to retire today. To make this real, I'll introduce you to Mark and Dana, a couple in their early 60s, a composite drawn from clients I've helped in the past. The first painful reality is longevity risk, the chance you'll outlive your money. And that chance is higher than most people think. According to the Social Security Administration, a 65-year-old man can expect to live to about 84. While a 65-year-old woman averages 87. For couples, the odds are even higher. There's roughly a 50-50 chance that one spouse will live well into their 90s. That's decades of spending on groceries, insurance, housing maintenance, healthcare, and unexpected costs, all stretched out over a longer period than many people realize. Mark and Dana originally planned for 20 years of retirement. They assumed it would carry them from their 60s into their mid-80s. But Dana's mom lived to 93. If Dana follows their path, the money will need to last almost 30 years, not 20. That realization shook them. Their portfolio looked healthy, but on paper, if it had to stretch across 3 decades, I don't know. This is the danger of front-loading retirement. Taking more trips, spending freely, then discovering the money must cover another 10 years. Longevity turns compounding into a double-edged sword. Your money must grow longer, but costs, taxes, healthcare bills all compound over a longer horizon too. The lesson here is simple. Retirement isn't just a short epilogue anymore. For many, it's a full third act requiring decades of planning and support. The second painful reality is healthcare. Medicare helps, but it's not the blank check people assume it. Fidelity estimates that in 2025, a 65-year-old is going to need about $173,000 for lifetime healthcare expenses in retirement after taxes. Couples are going to need significantly more, and that estimate excludes long-term care, dental, and vision expenses Medicaid often does not cover. CareScout, a long-term care research group, tracks national costs and trends and reports assisted living averages about $71,000 a year, where full nursing homes are around, almost $130,000 a year. Now, those numbers are sobering and they climb every year and can overwhelm a retirement plan that didn't set aside resources for medical care. Mark and Dana assumed Medicare would handle most of it, but that assumption was shattered when Dana needed hip surgery in her mid-60s. Now, Medicare covered the surgery itself, but rehab co-pays, extra therapy sessions, and out-of-network bills stacked up quickly, and several $1,000s of out-of-pocket expenses were racked up. At that same time, Mark's brand name prescription jumped mid-year, adding $400 per month. They hadn't really budgeted for that. Suddenly, their monthly cash flow tightened. Vacations and family support had to be postponed just to keep healthcare bills manageable. These weren't luxuries. These were necessary medical costs that demanded attention whether they felt ready to do it or not. Healthcare expenses are unpredictable and relentless. Without an explicit line item in the plan, they can squeeze out other priorities. The antidote is not guessing, it's forecasting. Building a placeholder, revisiting your coverage annually, and deciding deliberately how you'll fund long-term care. Hey, if this breakdown is helpful, do me a favor and hit like. It signals to YouTube to share it and helps me know which topics to cover more of. Our third painful reality is market risk, specifically sequence of return risk. It's not just what you earn, but when you earn it. Let's imagine two retirees both earn the same 20-year average return. One experiences losses early, the other later. Their outcomes couldn't be more different. That's sequence of return risk, and the danger of bad timing when withdrawals collide with down markets. Morningstar's 2025 research suggests safe starting withdrawal rates of just under 4%, highlighting the need to protect cash flow in early retirement. Mark and Dana, they retired in 2022. Within months, the market fell. They kept withdrawing their plans $60,000 a year, unaware of the hidden danger. Portfolios dropped quickly. Even when markets recovered, the dollars sold during a downturn never come back. Their plan, which seemed sustainable, suddenly looked fragile. They were forced to reevaluate how much risk they could shoulder. The danger wasn't that markets fell. The danger was withdrawing in the middle of it without a buffer. Sequence risk magnifies early mistakes. Dollars spent in down markets are gone forever, shortening your portfolio's lifespan by years. The antidote is foresight. Building a cash buffer, diversifying income streams, and giving yourself permission to flex withdrawals when markets struggle. For Mark and Dana, the adjustment was simple but critical. Set aside 2 years of cash to ride out the volatility without panic selling. Our fourth painful reality is the quiet one, inflation and taxes. And they rarely make headlines, but they quietly erode retirement security. As of August of 2025, inflation sits about 2.9% year over year, lower than the spikes of 2022, but still above pre-pandemic averages. Retirees feel it in most areas that outpace general inflation: healthcare services, insurance premiums, and everyday essentials like groceries. Taxes only compound the issue. Withdrawals from traditional IRAs and 401ks are ordinary income. Capital gains matter too, and yes, Social Security is taxable. Mark turned 73 and hit the required minimum distributions. The extra income nudged them into a higher bracket and triggered Social Security taxes. Their take-home income shrank even though their withdrawals stayed the same. They were frustrated, realizing taxes were eating away at their comfortable plan. Inflation and taxes together turned static budgets into shrinking ones. What felt generous 10 years ago might make things tight today. Planning levers include account sequencing, partial withdrawal conversions, bracket awareness, and capital gains management. Not to eliminate taxes, but to smooth them across the decades. Ignoring these forces is dangerous. They rarely cause collapse overnight, but they quietly grind a retirement security down year after year. These four realities, longevity, healthcare, sequence risk, inflation, and taxes, are the operating conditions for retirement today. The danger isn't that they exist. The danger is ignoring them and pretending that everything will work out just fine without preparation. Mark and Dana's story shows how quickly assumptions can unravel. What seems safe on paper looks shaky when real life intervened. But here's the encouraging part. Awareness allowed them to adjust. It didn't erase the realities, but it gave them options. For Dana, juggling parents, college-age kids, and their own retirement, the takeaway is that planning must bend without breaking. Start with these three practical questions. How long must my money last? What placeholder exists for healthcare? And how do I handle a downturn? Then add in a tax lens. Which accounts should I spend from first? Do Roth conversions make sense for me? And how do I avoid bracket creep? You can't control the markets, medical surprises, or inflation, but you can control your readiness through cash buffers, spending flexibility, and reviewing your habits. That's how retirement becomes calm again. Fewer surprises, faster decisions, and a plan that bends without breaking. Let's wrap this up and put a bow on it for you. Longevity, plan for decades, not just years. Overspending early in retirement is dangerous. Healthcare? Costs are relentless. Budget for them explicitly, not hopefully. Early losses can sink decades of planning. Buffers and flexibility matter. Inflation and taxes? Quiet headwinds that grind over time. Smooth them with intentional design. Facing these four honestly is not pessimism. It's respect for reality and the surest path to peace of mind. And if you'd like to see how these realities fit into your own situation, use the link to schedule a time to meet with me. Thanks for watching.